Hello, fellow space travelers. This is Never Seen It, a podcast about movies that we haven't seen, and I'm your host, Betsy. Today with me, as always, is my co-host, Trent.
Howdy doody.
You're so much more mellow than I am today. Well, fine. That's how we're going to proceed, because today we are going back to the Marvel Universe once again, and we are going to outer space for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Our first Guardians movie.
Volume 3.
Yes.
Yes, because we have previously already seen 1 and 2. So it's been a hot minute since we've seen a Guardians movie, Trent.
Yeah.
So what do you know about Volume 3?
So when last we were in the presence of the Guardians of the Galaxy, it was during Thor Love and Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, again, after Endgame, where there's this, I guess, search or chase or something with Gamora. They're going after Gamora because this is the Gamora that doesn't have the memory. She's from the other timeline.
Multiverse Gamora.
Yeah.
Gamora version 2.
Right. I don't know how to really describe her, but that is the new Gamora that is alive in this timeline.
In this universe.
So they're searching for her. They left Thor to go off and do his Thor-y things in Love and Thunder, and they all kind of left on their own to do whatever. So I feel like this Volume 3 is going to be yet another of the standalone adventures of the Guardians. I don't know exactly what that's going to be. I have a feeling, based on what I've heard, that it is actually going to call back to some of the shit that they were doing in Volume 2 with, I can't remember the name of the planet, but it's the Gold People.
The Gold People, yes. At
Yeah.
the very end of the second movie, Elizabeth Debicki, the very, very tall gold woman,
Yes.
creates a new birthing pod, and she says, this is the next step in our evolution, and I'm going to call him Adam.
Yeah.
So I believe that Adam is the new character in this movie.
Right, and to my knowledge, again, this is just what I've read, Adam is actually one of the members of the Guardians in the comic books. So I guess this is just introducing this character. I have no idea if he's going to join them or if he's just going to be a bad guy. I have no idea.
It's going to be like the Fast and the Furious series, how they always start as an enemy, and then he'll become a buddy and part of the gang.
So he'll be the new John Cena. Got it.
Maybe. I also feel like this is going to be the last one of these. The way I keep hearing
Yes,
about
yes.
it, James Gunn has been enlisted to take over DC
Yeah.
and kind of guide them and try to improve that whole process. So he's probably not going to be super involved. And it was like pulling teeth to get him to stay on this because there was a whole controversy and he got fired for a while.
Right,
And
it
the
wasn't-
studio brought him back.
Yeah, so he got fired from anything because of some old tweets that he had made, that he had apologized for and everything else. We're not going to get into that. But he was brought back. Disney allowed him to come back and finish Guardians 3. And because of the big controversy here, there were some people who were calling out Disney, calling out their bosses, Batista in particular. And that's why, like you said, I believe this is going to be the final one, because I don't think Batista is going to survive this movie.
So somebody is gonna die in this movie.
Yeah,
I
Drax
just,
will
I
not
fully
be- yes.
suspect it will be him, just because he has already said, I'm done.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm done with Drax. I'm saying goodbye. Whatever that means. But my fear is we've heard all of this and we're going to assume that, but maybe they just ride him off into the sunset somewhere somehow.
Right.
And it's somebody else and I'm not going to see it coming.
It's going to be like that season of The Walking Dead where they teased someone's going to die, but then it was 2 people died.
Yeah, and you had to wait the whole fucking summer before we found out who it was. And it was like, twist! You're losing too. So we'll see. I feel like this is going to be some closure for this series because
Yeah.
a lot of these actors are going on to other things. We'll talk about it more at the end to see what we feel like if this will continue.
Right, and we've covered the most recent Marvel movies on this podcast. You can go back and listen to those episodes. But for the most part, those movies have not progressed the overarching MCU story.
We're not getting to the overall Kang
No.
stuff except for Ant-Man,
Yeah,
really.
it's just little bits and pieces here, whereas in the Thanos thing, every single movie was giving you another piece and getting closer. And this one, I hope, based on what I'm hearing, number one, it is getting pretty good reviews. Whereas, like Ant-Man and Multiverse of Madness and some of the TV shows are getting very mixed reviews. And I'm hoping that this movie is going to get everything back on track where, okay, the masses of the MCU fan base are going to be back on board. We're going to close out this Guardians thing. And by the way, this is only the, third of the franchises that got 3 movies. Ant-Man has gotten 3. Thor has gotten 4.
And
Iron
Captain
Man
America.
Iron Man had 3. Captain America has 3.
So it's in a small group
Yeah.
that has extended beyond 2.
Yeah. But that all being said, I'm looking forward to this movie. I loved the first Guardians movie. I went into that movie expecting nothing. I knew nothing about the property.
You're like, what's this weird little movie?
Yeah, and I walked out of there just beaming. I loved that movie.
The last thing I will say before we wrap up this getting rather long intro is we know we can expect a banger of a soundtrack because this one always delivers.
Of course.
We'll see where we get to with that. But we are going to go to the theater and watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And we'll be right back. And we're back. That was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Trent, we've returned. How are you feeling?
That was wholly unexpected.
Good, bad, or just unexpected?
Just unexpected because, as we said in the intro, I had this vision in my mind that there was going to be this, I don't know, cataclysmic thing happening to the Guardians where maybe somebody's going to die, or like it seems like they were setting it up for, like a tragic ending or a tragic beginning where somebody, okay, I'm done with this and they're going to go after like revenge. I saw maybe one of the trailers and I knew it was going to be very much a Rocket-focused movie. But the way they handled everything was just out of left field. I mean, I didn't expect it to be a very human story. I did not expect it to be having nothing to do with the rest of the MCU. And I understand them disbanding at the end of the movie and them going their separate ways and everybody's going to have to find themselves and everything else. I get that. And there's a new Guardians. There's a new troop of Guardians at the very end. But overall, I think it was a good movie. I just don't know if it fits in with the rest of the MCU. I don't know if it didn't, like, at the beginning, it didn't even really feel like a Guardians movie. The tone was off.
Yeah, so usually these movies start with like a goofy sequence at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's a lot of humor, but this is a more disenfranchised Guardians at the beginning. They're all struggling with something, and like they even have a line in this movie where they say like he's the only one that doesn't hate himself.
Yeah.
Everybody on this ship is just dealing with their own
Somebody
shit.
is going through everybody's going through an existential crisis of some kind. Peter is still missing Gamora a whole lot. He's depressed. He's drinking himself into a stupor like all the time. Because
too much.
And even Drax says again,
Yeah.
after they take him out of the bar, Nebula is having to basically take control of the entire group.
She doesn't want to be in charge, but she's found herself in charge.
Yeah, and she doesn't want to have that responsibility. I mean, I don't know really what Groot's deal is. Just
He's still, growing up. He's not
I guess.
adolescent anymore. He's a grown-ass man
he's a
now.
young adult Groot. And of course, Rocket is having these like flashbacks. And again, the whole movie is kind of is surrounding Rocket.
I will tell you, if this movie doesn't raise a whole generation of children to join the ASPCA,
Yeah.
I do not know what will. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I cried through most of this movie.
Yeah.
From the very second they show Rocket after they've just done horrible, horrible things. And you know this, like from the beginning of this series, you know that there was something really terrible that happened.
Yeah.
But thinking about it and them actually kind of taking you through it is two very different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And when his little baby mouth opens and he says, hurts.
Hurts.
The first word he speaks is hurts. I just started to sob. And then every time they went back to this and they give you a little more and a little more, I cried probably 5 times in this movie. And I'm just like, you have to save all of the animals. Just protect them at all costs.
Yeah, and they're not subtle about their positions here on like animal experimentation and, you know, testing animal cruelty in general. It's very much clear. Not like it's a big stance to take against animal cruelty.
It is the stance you should be taking.
Of course.
Like, honestly. But like I said, if kids don't watch this movie and go protect the animals,
Right.
like zoologists and, you know, animal rights activists coming up in another 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, let's wait and see. Because it was really traumatic to go through and see this origin story for Rocket.
And we haven't really got a lot from Rocket other than the fact that he's this like foul-mouthed guy who likes guns.
He's a genius too.
Right, and he's a gadget guy. He knows how to build things. He knows how to pilot things. He's an expert at everything. But he is genetically engineered to be an expert at everything.
But they also get to the root of the whole series where he says, I'm not a raccoon, I'm not a raccoon.
Right.
And
he doesn't know what a raccoon is.
No, he's never seen a raccoon. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But when he sees them and it lists their category of species and subspecies, the genus, and it says more commonly known,
name.
The raccoon. And at the end of the movie, he claims it
He
as
claims
his own.
the name. I love that.
And I'm just like, I love everything about this.
Even Groot grows a little bit, no pun intended. He says, I love you guys. That's like the only sentence he's made other than we are Groot at the end of 1.
Is this all an elaborate ruse? Is Groot just full of shit and he can speak anytime he wants to? He's the Silent Bob of this series where he knows exactly what he wants to say. He just chooses to be very selective about when to say it.
I don't know.
But they did set this up so many times that you were concerned for somebody.
Yes.
Because obviously at the beginning it starts with Rocket and they go on this entire mission because of him. They're trying to save his life.
Yeah.
But then along the way, there is a moment where it seems like maybe Drax is gonna die.
Because he got shot in the chest, he got shot in the back, and they're really setting it up here to think, oh, this is where Drax gets it, or this is where Mantis gets it, or somebody. No, you got none of it.
No, it looked like Nebula was gonna die at one point, and then literally near the end of the movie, we're getting to the climax.
Right.
Peter is floating out in space and everyone is desperately trying to save him and he's like fucking almost like exploding and turning frozen and all that shit that happens to you without oxygen.
Right.
And he somehow survives. I thought they were going to kill off Peter Quill and I would have been shocked. Like I was sitting there with my mouth open like, oh my God.
I feel like because we are watching this movie a week or so after the fact, we would have heard about it in some fashion. If that was the case.
If that was the big twist.
If that was the big surprise, we would have heard that they killed off Star-Lord.
No, the big surprise is nobody died.
Yeah.
Somehow we made it to the end of this series and nobody died. However, they did break the band up. That's the big thing. So this is a conclusion of sorts where everybody has been on this journey together and now it's time for them to go their separate ways and figure out their own journeys.
And they all have a good reason to do it. The whole thing about Peter, he was abducted when he was 8 years old. He never... Like right after his mother died.
The same moments.
He would have needed some kind of therapy or support or anything, but he get thrust from one tragic event to another, to another, to another. And he says he's 45 years old. And he's never actually had a chance to grow up. He's been running on the run ever since he was abducted. And now it's finally time for him to sit down and have his breakfast.
With Grandpa eating cereal.
Yeah, so that's him. Mantis is a completely other kind of a creature. We don't know what her origin is at all, other than the fact that Ego had her on his planet to, I guess, help him with his own planet.
Well, she is also his daughter. If you remember from the Christmas special.
I guess.
This is one of those weird like singular details that if we hadn't watched the Christmas special, I'd be
Yeah.
like, wait, that's his sister?
Yeah,
I'm
all of a
so
sudden,
confused.
Yeah, all of a sudden they just kind of drop the word sister at the beginning of the movie. It's like, yeah, okay, yes, that makes sense because we watched the Christmas special, but anybody else would be like, what? I mean, I guess they're kind of sister and brother, but that's weird. Okay, we're just going to move on.
But literally, she was on Ego's planet and he kept her because she had a use. That was the
Yeah.
only reason.
Yes.
Everyone else was no use to him. But your point on her is
Yeah.
she just basically started there and like her speech is, he told me what to do and now the Guardians tell me what to
Right,
do.
exactly.
I've never had my own freedom to do what I want to do.
Exactly, and she needs to go off and find herself along with her 3 new pets.
Yes.
Yes, but Nebula is going to be leading Nowhere, which is this thing that they're on.
And helping this new colonization that they've
Right.
got going.
Yeah, we got all these kids, all these animals, all this everything coming off of this other thing, and I guess that's going to be her thing now.
But
Drax-
again, she doesn't want to be in charge in
Yeah.
the way that Peter was like the captain. She doesn't want to go out on
Sure.
adventures and lead the group.
Right. She doesn't want to be a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy anymore, going off on adventures like you said. She wants to stay there and help these people. Then we got Drax, who, again, I loved the line that she said, "You are not meant to be Drax the Destroyer. You're meant to be a dad." And that just killed me, Betsy. Because in the first couple of movies, he always talked about his wife and his daughter.
In the first one, especially.
Especially the first one, because he was going after revenge for the people who killed his family. And he finally got his revenge in whatever fashion that he had. He found this new family. But at the same time, once you're a dad, you're always kind of a dad. So he's never had that other side of him come out again. And by the end of the movie, he's literally dancing with the children because they love him so much.
And at the beginning of this movie, he says dancing is for idiots.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing that he says, I think, in 2. Like, there are some people who dance and some people who didn't, and how he fell in love with his wife was that she would not tap her foot to even the best song ever, or something like that.
But of course, with these kids, there's this new race of beings that this guy has created.
Sure.
And he refers to them all as idiots.
Right.
He says, hello, tiny idiots.
Kids are kind of idiots.
Yes, but that's who dances. And
Yes.
so for them, he dances. And it's very sweet. And he gets this circular closure.
Yeah, and I think that the Drax character is I think, one of the most complex. It doesn't seem that way, but he's got a lot of inner emotions that he's all emotion. That's his big thing.
He can't mask it. He's very literal.
Yeah, he cannot hide what he's really feeling. So, and I guess Gamora is the last one, which again is a weird thing because she's revealed to be with the Ravagers, and of course we got the cameo from Sylvester Stallone again.
Right.
Of course.
And of course, this is Gamora, but it's not Gamora. This
Yeah.
is alternate Gamora. And the
Right.
whole time, Peter is dealing with seeing her and remembering all the good times they had, but she keeps telling him, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
I'm a different person. Like, you have to stop because...
She even said, I'm literally just been separated from Thanos. I was with him up until Endgame.
About 5 minutes ago, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you killed him, and I'm off doing my own thing now with people that I that I identify with.
Yeah, and she's this tough chick, so it
Yep.
makes sense that she would go with the Ravagers, and they show them at the end of the movie when they're all off doing their own thing, and that's her family.
Right.
The way that the Guardians became her family
Yep.
for Gamora 1.0.
Right.
This Gamora, that's who fits in with.
Yeah, she's not all mopey and like missing the Guardians. She's not missing Peter or anything like that. But she also realizes at the end, you know what? We probably would have been fun together.
She gets a
we would have
taste
had
of
a,
it.
We would have had a good time. I get that. But I can't be that for you.
No.
I literally cannot be that for
It's
you.
not who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend to be that. And they really do a good job where she is always on the sideline. Like at the end when they all rescue Peter and they're
Yeah.
just ecstatic he's not dead.
Yep.
They all have this giant group hug, including Adam, who
We'll get to Adam.
We're getting to, but he even like awkwardly joins the group hug, and she's off to the side because she knows this isn't for her.
But at the same time, she can see that they all love each other. She's
Yeah.
smiling. At the beginning, she was not smiling.
Or like earlier in the movie where she's left on the ship to protect Rocket.
Yeah.
And she's just like, you must be one really faithful pet
Right.
for them to go through all this trouble for you.
Yeah.
And she takes a lot of cares when the planet starts blowing up to grab him and protect him. This is somebody she does not know. She's trying to get off this fucking rock.
Right.
Why am I even involved in this? She's not really sure.
That's the thing. She was doing a job. She's getting paid to do this. So, I mean, that's part of it, I guess.
But
she cannot get paid if Rocket dies.
fair enough.
So, I mean, she's true to her core. But I want to go back to the whole metaphor about the thing that Drax and I guess Mantis says about the lily pads and like having to learn to swim. Him at the end of the movie, that's him. That's what he is doing. He's not chasing after Gamora anymore. He realizes by the end, this is not going to happen.
Yeah, Peter goes home.
Yes, literally. He needs a little bit of just down to earth. No, again, no pun intended. Down to
Pun
earth.
very intended.
Down to earth kind of living and like finding himself, and you are what your family wanted you to be. That I fully believe that, because and what I mean by that is, you know, Peter at 8 years old, he said, you're still kind of a little shit when you're 8 years old. You're not really getting too much out of your parents and your family. It's not until you get your later ages where it really starts to stick, and then you start recognizing some of the shit that your parents did or do still. Like, we always talk about the fact that Betsy will talk to anybody. That's her dad.
Yeah, the older I get, I will catch myself like physically moving a certain way, standing a way he stands, and I'm like, make it stop.
On occasion, I will like say something, or like when I'm editing the podcast, I can hear my father's voice, or like some like mannerisms that I do. It's like I can't not notice it. But you get to those ages, and you really realize, yes, you are a product of your environment, and that's Peter. Peter right now, as a Guardian, he is a product of him being a Ravager. He's not a product as much of the Earth family that he came from. So he needs to find his other part.
And they kind of plant the seeds throughout this movie that that's where it's headed.
Yeah.
And they even go to Counter Earth, which is like Earth, but not at all, because
it's like a weird like 1950s version with a bunch of creature people.
Well, it makes sense when you have a supreme overlord who is trying to create a perfect quote unquote society.
Yeah.
That is a reference point, because there is this image that people have of 1950s America, an easier, simpler time when everything was quote unquote perfect, even though nothing ever is. And they quickly reveal that this planet is fucked, just like every other society.
Yeah, they got fucking people selling drugs in the street. We have graffiti everywhere, and just like random fights.
Yeah, people beating each other up in the streets. But it's things like that that kind of inspire him, and the Gamora's digging through his JanSport backpack.
Yeah.
I forgot it was a JanSport. And she's just like, hands him a picture of him, his mom, and his grandpa.
Yep.
And says, oh, this fell out of your bag. Is that you? Mm-hmm. And then later, like, why, it could be that your grandfather's still alive. He could still be alive.
Sure.
He'd be in his 90s, but he could be alive.
Yeah.
And so everybody kind of keeps suggesting it to him, and it takes him nearly dying for him to say, that's probably a good idea for me.
Yeah, and like he is told on multiple occasions, like you said, how have you not wanted to go back? You've had the opportunity to go back your entire, I guess, more adult life. Well, now that you've had your ship and everything, you can go home and see your family. Why don't you want to do that? And he immediately throws it back in their face saying, you really want me to go back to where my mother died when I was 8 years old and I was abducted and everything else? I don't want to face that.
I don't want to deal with that.
I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to be that big adult and learn from this and actually, again, bring yourself back down to earth and just get your head out of the clouds and just relax.
Listen, this is a movie for children or slightly older children or adults who think like children. But there is a lot of complexity to this, because this entire series, it's about people who are otherwise alone in the universe, who find family with each other, to bring it back to the Fast and Furious of it all, the Vin Diesel of it all. And
he's the connective tissue.
They're all growing up, growing apart, and also overcoming their own personal traumas. That is what this entire movie, especially this one, is about. And that's really heavy stuff. And now we're throwing in like animal cruelty. And I'm just like, I'm going to cry through this whole damn movie.
Then again, it's coming back to the whole tone thing. Like, this does not feel like a Guardians movie for half of it.
But it also does completely feel like a Guardians movie. Like, I personally really liked this. I did. And I think it's because they are trying something a little bit different. Yes, Guardians has been up to this point a little bit silly. And this definitely is a little bit silly.
There are definitely some points here where I laughed quite a bit. And again, I did not dislike this movie in any case. But I recently rewatched the second one. You know, that one gets kind of a bad rap because it is kind of a slower movie. It is very Peter focused, and I want the entire group to be a part of everything. And again, this movie is very Rocket focused, but yeah, it is all of these extra themes and all of the adult themes that everybody's dealing with that, yeah, it's a lot heavier of a movie than what I was expecting. And maybe that's my hang up here.
Okay, I completely see that point, but I also think that it was a good way to kind of close the chapter, close the book, because as we said in the intro, all signs point to this is the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy as it is. But this is also kind of just Marvel in general right now.
Yeah.
As we enter the new phase, like we're getting a new Captain America, Iron Man is gone. They're kind of getting rid of, they're closing the ties. They're getting everything cleaned up from the old stuff. How many more metaphors?
They're passing the torch.
Yes.
All the metaphors.
All of those are finishing. And we are introducing new stuff, which is why we're getting the young Avengers stuff happening.
That's what I keep going back to.
The Marvels, we still have the Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's a different group except for Rocket and Groot.
Yes.
So we'll continue these adventures, and in the end credits, we stayed through the credits because that is what you do for Marvel movies. It says the legendary Star-Lord will return. So Star-Lord will come back in some capacity. But Gamora's off doing her thing.
Yep.
Drax is off doing his thing. Everybody is off doing their thing.
Yeah, I do not expect to hear from the people on Nowhere ever again because they're just going to go off and do their thing. They wouldn't really fit in anywhere else in a big MCU style. It's satisfying enough to know that they're off doing their thing. And that's cool. But the connection that you have is with the new Guardians because one of the kids is in it for some reason. I don't know what her deal is.
We'll probably find that out later. Like this is a new, I don't know, superior race. I don't know what you call this.
I don't know what the fuck.
New species of humanoids.
But what we keep on going back to when we're covering all these MCU movies is, and even like the TV shows, even though we don't cover them, we do watch the shows. We're very behind still. But they are trying to, again, pass the torch on to a younger generation of Avengers and superheroes and whatever the fuck else. We have the Thor kid. We have the Hawkeye kid.
The Black Panther
kid. All of these young people are now taking over the MCU in whatever fashion that they are. Now, some of the older folks are still around. Hulk is still around. Thor is still around. Captain Marvel is still around.
But Captain Marvel's still fairly new.
Right.
She's only done one movie and then an Avenger movie.
Right. And again, we just keep on going back to them really trying to get this young Avengers thing, and it's not going to be the old fucks who are going to be saving the world. It is the young people who are going to defeat Kang. So we have to set it up in all of these other movies for that to pay off, in like 2027 or whatever the fuck that's going to happen?
I don't know, because there's a whole lot of stuff that's kind of left with a lot of question marks right now about Kang and the actor, but we're not going to dive into that because I would rather talk about the newest Guardian of the Galaxy, Adam. So we brought him up in the intro. So this guy is the new Spawn, whatever, the Sovereign, is that
yes.
people?
The group of the gold bitches.
The gold bitches. Okay, first of all, I want to say that they've got Elizabeth Debicki back, so that's the really tall woman. The High Priestess.
Yes.
That woman is like 6'3.5" normally, and they put her in 4-inch heels, and that is such a boss move, and I loved it. You only saw it for like a second, but they make like clear joke about it because the actor who is the evolutionary like has to get on a stool and like examine her. It was fucking great. But she created Adam, and he insisted they take him out now to act as opposed to letting him stew in there a little bit longer. So he's not ready yet, and Adam's an idiot.
That is to a point, I guess. But, like, they didn't go all that well into him. I feel like they could have fleshed him out some more to really understand what the hell his deal is, other than the fact that he's just another dude who has superpowers for some reason. None of the other sovereign people have it.
She says at the end of the second one, it's the next step in our evolution. And so for him to be released from his evolutionary pod before he was ready to go, it's kind of this wet fart.
He's underbaked.
Because you're expecting this serious dude who's going to come and fuck everybody up.
Yeah.
But then the second he opens his mouth and the second he tries to do anything that requires subtlety and logic,
right,
he's just this big beefhead.
Which, you know what? We mentioned in the intro that, I heard that Adam was actually a member of the Guardians in the comic books. That makes sense because all of those guys are a bunch of goobers anyway. So it fits.
And it's exactly what I said, where he's the bad guy, but because he is kind of simple-minded about his objective, he is easily swayed to their side.
Yeah.
Once they show him a little humanity, all of a sudden, he's like, well, why did you do that? I was trying to kill you. And they're like, everybody deserves a second chance.
Right.
And suddenly he's part of the gang, and he's cool with it. Because his mom's dead, his people are dead. He doesn't have anybody else, just like the rest of this group. When you're here, you're family. It's like the Olive Garden.
And they're introducing these new people at a clip that it's unsustainable, because think about the end of Thor Love and Thunder. We got fucking Hercules introduced for half a second. We got the end of Eternals where you have
Harry Styles
and Patton Oswalt
as some sort of weird
troll guy introduced and then just let go. We have all of these people who are introduced at the end of these movies or during them, and they don't get that much fleshing out, and they're just kind of hanging by strings, and they're not getting put together in any fashion.
It took
I
a
don't
lot.
like it.
Yeah, this phase, it is taking a lot more time to tie all those strings together than it did with the first phase, because the first one, they had such a clear vision, and it went from 2008 to 2012.
Yes.
To get the Avengers together.
Yeah.
That was it. 4 years. 4 or 5 years if you want to count from the beginning to the very end.
And now I get the characters that they're putting into the original Avengers thing are much bigger characters. They carry a lot of weight. But these other small guys, I have no idea where they fit in. I don't know why they bothered in some cases, why they even bothered to introduce them in the first place.
Because we haven't gotten there yet, and it's taking a long time to get there.
Yeah.
We're still picking up the breadcrumbs from stuff that happened 5 years ago. Now, I will give you a slight pass because there was this little world pandemic thing that happened that slowed this whole process down for about 3 years, and now we're just catching up, but it is taking some time. As quickly as they're releasing these movies, we're doing one of these movies every 2 months right now.
Yeah.
And I have no idea where the fuck it's taken me. Where is this leading? I don't know.
We talked about in all of the other ones that we've covered, Multiverse of Madness didn't go anywhere with it. Quantum Mania barely did anything other than just kind of talk more about Kang and his origins and what he's going to be up to later. The TV shows are just, again, introducing more younger characters to throw into the Young Avengers later. There's just, and I mentioned it in the intro, I just want more of the MCU stuff, and they're not giving it to me.
Well, they are giving it to you. You're just not getting what you want out of it. They're giving you plenty of MCU stuff.
That's what I mean.
You want a through line. You want to understand the point of it all. And so far, there's no point.
So far, they're not even hinting at where they're going with it, other than Kang as a bad guy. Maybe we'll get more of that with season 2 of the Loki show. But again, I shouldn't have to go and watch a TV show to get your overall story.
Fair enough. I will give you that, but let's get back to Guardians. So let's just talk about some of the little things throughout the movie, because I know there were a ton of moments that I wrote down that just tickled me pink.
Like what?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of scenes with Mantis and Drax where Mantis is using her powers and she is developing a sense of humor. And through the whole movie, like, she keeps saying, "Did that look cool? That looked really cool." Like, she's just this teenager or child turning into a teenager who finds stupid shit funny. Like, she charms the guard and says, "You're madly in love with him."
Right.
And Drax has to just awkwardly put up
Because
with
it happens so often.
And she does this apparently a lot. And like later she's insulting Drax to his face and she's like, "We keep him around because he's so funny."
Yeah, he makes us laugh, and
He does have a purpose. He's funny. He's really stupid. I think he's
you
stupid.
think I'm stupid?
Yeah, just forget.
And that's actually kind of hurtful. So,
It is.
So maybe you shouldn't have done that.
No, I think it maybe would. I almost thought that there was going to be a moment where that didn't work on him.
Uh-huh.
But we've seen her use her powers on him, so I know that's a thing. It's just generally like Drax being Drax, like when they're on the Counter Earth and they go into this family's house and
Yes.
he keeps lying on the couch because he just wants to take a nap because he's the dad. Trent, he's the dad of this group.
Yes.
He wants to live. That's what it's for.
Why would they make it oblong?
You and I have fathers who do this. After a meal, they sit down, and within about 5 minutes, someone's snoring in a chair.
Yeah, I think the scene of them at the kitchen table was probably the funniest scene out of the entire movie.
That was great. And then, of course, that leads right into them getting into a car, which, as this is happening, I'm like, you know where this is going, right? Peter Quill can't drive a car.
Yeah, he was 8 years old. He saw his parents do it on occasion when he was in the car with them, but he wasn't paying attention. He was 8.
No, but he does have to explain to Nebula how to open the door.
Yeah.
And this is where we get our F-bomb.
I had heard that this is what's going to happen. There was going to be a fuck in Guardian, in the first one in all of the MCU.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody was going to be the first, and I feel like this makes sense because these are the most foul-mouthed people, even though they don't get to do it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, she's trying to open the door, and he's having to explain it, and she's like, "Okay, I got it. Now what?
Push the button.
Open the fucking door."
Open the fucking door.
Do we think that was worth it?
No.
I think
There should have been so many other better ones to do it with.
it was funny, but it wasn't like that good. It almost kind of was like, well, I knew it was coming. If I didn't know it was coming, I don't know if I would have reacted at all or if I would have had a big reaction.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention it in the intro. I knew that was going to happen, but I told Betsy on the way to the theater, "Oh yeah, by the way, we forgot to say it in the intro. There's going to be a fuck in this movie." What? Yeah.
I kind of wish you hadn't told me because I would have been interested to know how I would have reacted.
Yeah.
And I almost sometimes forget when I'm watching movies like this, like if somebody says fuck,
Sure.
because if it fits, then I'm just like, yeah, that's a word we use.
But that's the
not
thing.
realizing the context.
Well, that's the thing. We're aware when we're watching a PG-13 movie, and we're always looking for the fuck because they can do it once. They're allowed to do one per movie. And we always, when we see it, we look at each other in the theater or on the couch or whatever, and we put up one finger.
Or
That's
we go,
the one.
The button.
That's the one. But I agree. I think they should have used it elsewhere. If they were going to use it, I'm glad that they were able to use it in the Guardians movie, but I feel like it was wasted. It's a good place to put it. Like, that is a very frustrating thing to do. Like, you're this alien creature who doesn't know how to open a Buick.
Also, why are there Buicks on this planet? What the hell
That's
is this
a great
place?
question.
I don't
How
understand.
did they manufacture these things?
This is clearly part of the comics that they didn't have time to explain, like who this evolutionary guy is, what his
Yeah.
whole deal is. Is he human? Is he a humanoid? Why was he on Earth? Because he says, "I visited your planet once."
Right.
Why is he so enamored with this planet that he creates an entire civilization that looks like 1950s America
And why
only to blow it up?
And why would you even think that was a utopia meant to copy? There's
Yeah.
nothing about this planet or these people that is utopic in any way.
Yeah, there's some hows and whys that we didn't really get, and
Yeah.
I suspect if you were a comic book fan, this would make
Sure.
a lot more sense.
And clearly, yes, he is an evil man who needs to be defeated. But he is this, like, weirdly cartoonish evil that just goes to 11 and stays there the whole way through.
I mean, he was committed to it. I didn't hate it. I just don't think he was that. I don't know if he was an interesting character or not, because he's just sort of one
not.
note.
He's not.
He is evil scientist, basically.
Like, fucking Thanos had a philosophy. He had a history. He had reasons for what he is doing. But this guy, he calls himself, he said, when somebody says, oh my God, or something like that, he says, there is no God. I took his place. So he's playing God and trying to create this, trying to create what God couldn't, I guess.
Yeah, and do it better and better and better.
Yeah.
And of course, he starts with Rocket and his friends, and they're just real animals that they, poke and prod until they give them some semblance of consciousness.
Well, think about this. This is also group number 89. There were 88 other groups of animals or specimens that he went through to get to 89, and it's the 90th one that actually took because of Rocket. Rocket helped them get there.
And then they have a machine. He has a literal evolutionary machine. I was like, is this the Super Mario Brothers movie from 1993 where they have a machine that they can just zap everybody up?
That's a de-evolution machine.
It can go both ways because he also makes them smarter.
It's true.
So that's immediately what I thought about. And they are really aggressive, but then Rocket looks at it and says, well, it's because of X, Y, and Z. And he just figures out this complex problem very simply.
With no explanation as to why he knows this.
No. So he tells him how to fix it. The guy fixes it, and then he reveals his evil master plan.
Yeah.
But I also had the thought, is this where Howard the Duck comes from?
Oh, God.
Because it is an evolutionary machine where they put a little animal in, they crank a knob, and it is a humanoid animal that can speak and think and live its life.
Kinda?
I'm just saying, Howard the Duck is a humanoid duck who can think and speak and smile.
Betsy, we're gonna have to wait to watch Howard the Duck, and
He
we'll
was
get
in
our
this
answer.
movie.
I know he's in
hanging out in nowhere.
He's in all of the movies, but Betsy, eventually we will watch Howard the Duck.
Oh boy.
It's on the list.
Do you think they are getting to a place where they're going to try to make a Howard the Duck movie?
No.
Or a TV show or a
No.
special something?
No.
I would bet they'll do a 30-minute Disney Plus thing if they do anything ever.
Seth Green has better things to do.
I doubt that.
What else you got, Betsy?
As happy as I was to see him, I was kind of disappointed that they put Nathan Fillion's name in the credits because I would have enjoyed it much more if he just showed up.
It would have been better if it was a surprise.
Well, and there's something that makes sense about him in this universe, because if you are at all familiar with Nathan Fillion as a person and his body of work, of course, his big claim to fame after the fact, it took a while for it to become his claim to fame, is Firefly. So
sci-fi TV show.
Sci-fi, space,
comedy,
humor. He's got that kind of Peter Quill quality where he's a little bit of a, tries to be a charmer, but he's kind of an idiot, but
also,
he's funny.
He flies by the seat of his pants.
Yeah. And he plays that character a lot. So he really does make sense to show up in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Not like this.
Not like this. He is just like the lead thug at this space station.
Sure.
He's the head of security.
Yeah.
And he's in like a couple scenes and then that's it. And
he meows.
I wish that I didn't know he was coming. If he had just shown up on the screen, I would have squealed with delight. And then maybe it wouldn't have mattered what happened afterwards.
Maybe.
But then I spent the whole movie going, Nathan Fillion's in! Where's Nathan Fillion? And then I was like, oh, okay. He shows up, he does his Nathan Fillion thing, we all have a chuckle, and then they leave and it's over.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Nathan Fillion was a little bit wasted here. Not that he's like a really, really big name. Like, if
in this circle of people who are watching this, he's a big enough name.
You're right. And I feel like if they were going to put him in anything, it would be Guardians. And this is going to be the probably the last Guardians movie. The Guardians will show up in later things, but I don't think they're going to get another movie.
Probably not.
So if they're going to do it, they're going to do it now. So I get that. And I'm no big Nathan Fillion fan, but I know there are a lot of people who really, really like Firefly. You're one of them?
I don't know that I'm the really, really, really like
No.
it. I like it, though. Yeah, I haven't watched it in a really long time.
Still. So as long as we're here on this quote-unquote planet, let's talk about the weird goopy flesh thing that they're all on.
Yeah, so the station is made of organic matter.
Yeah,
and
it's
it
not
is
a planet.
self-sustaining.
Yeah.
It has like some structural, it's like they made a framework
Uh-huh.
and attached a being to it, and it grows and heals, and it's disturbing.
And when you look at it out in space, it looks like a big butthole.
A little bit. It looks a little bit like a butthole, like with hemorrhoids.
Yeah, so like they get on the planet, they use their little gravity boots, and they're like cutting into it, and like when they pull it out, it's got like layers of like the dermis and epidermis and all of these other
there's-
medical things that I can't remember.
Tissue, and it's floppy and squishy, and there's,
there's
yellow
like,
stuff coming
There's like
off.
liquid coming off of it. It's like pus. It's like, God damn it, this is gross.
There was some really gnarly stuff in this entire movie. Like, that was just scratching the surface. Like, all of the creatures that
Yeah.
this dude created, they're all
Fucking
like
hell spawn.
half man, half animal, half machine.
Yeah.
And they're all crazed. And there's weird little beasts, like when they're trying to get all the children off of the spaceship.
Yeah.
And Mantis opens the door, and there's this freaky, deformed, like, pig thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. And
she
she
recoils.
screams, and she's like, I was screaming at something behind you. You're totally normal looking. But there's so much of that in this movie
Yeah.
where I would believe that some kids would find this a little bit too scary.
I agree.
Because even, like, Rocket's friends, when they're revealed, they're kind of little monsters coming out of the shadows. Like,
Yeah.
it's this really cute little otter, but with robot arms. And then this kind of creepy bunny rabbit with a mask.
With the weird Bane mask
Oh my
and like
God.
spider legs.
That was
and
like
then
the stuff of nightmares.
fucking walrus on monster truck wheels.
Like they,
What the fuck?
When you get to know them,
They have a great personality.
great personality. But this is the kind of stuff that if I saw as a kid, I would be freaked out by that.
Yeah. But think about way back when we were kids and we watched Toy Story.
Yeah,
Think
I thought about that.
All of the monstrosities that kid made out of his other toys. It's the same thing.
Also, you want to know something really stupid and funny?
I would love to know something stupid and funny, Betsy.
The actor who plays Adam in this movie,
Yeah.
the internet loved, especially a few years ago when he was kind of going through puberty, to point out how much he looked like Sid in Toy
Yeah,
Story.
I
And he
did see that.
dressed up as that character for Halloween a few years
Oh,
ago.
fuck. No, I had no idea.
There are pictures on the internet.
All right.
I can't remember the actor's name off the top of my head, but Google his name and Toy Story, and you will find pictures. So
Awesome.
it is this weird little
Awesome.
connection that my brain also made.
But that was what was running through my head when we were seeing all those little guys. And again, you don't think that you're going to care for these little creatures, but you do. And even when they gave themselves their own names, Lila, Teefs, and Floor.
I'm gonna call myself Floor because I'm on the floor.
I'm lying on the floor. I'm Floor.
It's such like sweet childlike mentality. Like
Yeah.
they're just friends, and this whole section was fucking devastating.
It really was.
Because they're talking about all the great things they're gonna do, and we're gonna go to this planet, and we're gonna be friends, and we can fly
We're gonna
away
be
and
in
be
the
fun-
sky.
The sky is all they care about.
Remember when you were a kid, you just laid on the fucking grass and looked at the sky, looked
That's
at the
what
clouds.
they're doing, but they're in a fucking cage, and
Yeah.
I cannot. Seriously, when I say I cried through this whole movie, I'm not even kidding you.
Betsy, I also had tears a couple of times. I think the one that really got me was when Rocket finally woke up. That was the time when Peter and Groot were there when he woke up.
Peter's giving this guttural scream because he's
Yeah.
his best friend. He doesn't want him to die. And you get Rocket in in the void between life
in
and
quote
death.
unquote heaven, he's dreaming.
He's in the
And
void between life and
he
death.
finally sees his friends and they're waiting for him, and he could just go.
And you think
But
he's going.
his time is not up yet.
Yeah. Also, did you know the actress who voices Lila is Linda Cardellini?
No.
Yeah, so I don't know why they have brought in yet another person to play double roles in the MCU. There's thousands of actors, but we keep double dipping and I don't understand it. Like, Michelle Yeoh was in the last Guardians movie at the very end.
Yeah.
They just cast her as a different character in a new Marvel thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they keep doing it. Like,
I don't know.
Like, when you don't see them, fine. Linda Cardellini, great. She was great in it. I believed everything. She made me very sad when she got shot and she died. But why? Because Hawkeye's over now? I don't know.
Probably. It didn't bother me. I didn't even know that was the thing.
Now that you know, it bothers you.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, fine.
It does not bother me that they just use a voice actor. Okay, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a rant here, not to get all Dennis Miller on everybody, but that's a reference.
You're from the 90s.
Oh boy. I remember Betsy and I are in the middle of rewatching all of the Game of Thrones series. There is a blonde actor who played King Tommen. Okay, everybody knows who Tommen is.
Big character in the latter
Yep,
seasons.
Kind of a big deal. He's the king, and he dies later. Spoilers, people die in Game of Thrones.
En masse. Yes, they do.
But that same little kid, that actor, was used in a previous season, like 2 seasons before he becomes king. And it is very apparent when you rewatch it. Wait a minute, what the fuck is Tommen doing here? That's Tommen. No, they reused this blonde British child for being the king later on in the seasons. I get that kids grow up and everything else. You can't have the same kids all the time. But I have a bug up my butt about the fact that they reused an actor when you could have found any other British blonde child.
Okay, maybe this is just...
God damn it!
Maybe this is just a British television thing because they do this on Doctor Who. Like, literally one of the actors who played the Doctor, Peter Capaldi,
Yeah.
was on Doctor Who. And in an episode people remember. From this movie, Karen Gillan, she was in that same episode with Peter Capaldi, and then she came on as a main character later. This happened multiple times, and they always use like one line of dialogue to explain it. Like, oh, I had a cousin who worked there once.
At the very least, they say something about it.
You would, okay, well, in that case, on Game of Thrones, that was a Lannister cousin. It's his cousin. They can look alike. There, I've explained it for you.
Fuck! You just took away my entire argument against it.
Sorry, but that does not justify
still bothers
Linda
me.
Cardellini as a robot otter.
A robot otter. Fuck. What the fuck are we even talking about here?
I don't know anymore.
Oh, jeez. I know we're going along here, but there's still more things to talk about. We would be remiss to not talk about the soundtrack because it's a fucking Guardians movie. There was surprisingly a lot of like 90s music, and I know it's because Peter has his new Zune, which they brought back. I love that they brought back the Zune. I have an ex-girlfriend who had a Zune. That was her thing.
What is it? My ex-boyfriend had a Zune.
What the fuck? We've never talked about this before. Anyway.
I've never heard of it because not that many people had one.
No.
And then the iPod took over.
Sure.
And that's what everybody got.
And I didn't have an iPod until way after they were popular. Like I had the first click wheel.
Oh.
It was the first one that had like the touchpad on the front instead of the thing that clicked, like the physical round thing. Anyway, we're talking about iPods. Anyway,
God, kids, if you're listening to this, the iPod used to click when you spun the wheel.
That's right. There was a literal wheel inside of it. No. So there was a lot of 90s music here. There was even a brand new song from Florence and the Machine.
I mean, that's even now 10 or whatever years old.
Sure,
But
still.
yeah, there was a lot more quote unquote modern music, even though Creep is from like 30 years ago.
Yeah, and there is also the acoustic version of Creep.
That was a cool version.
Yeah.
I forget about that one.
Yeah, it almost didn't even sound like him.
He did that later. I don't know if that was from like Unplugged or what that is.
I don't know. But I Shazammed it in the theater just to make sure that, wait a minute, is this Radiohead or is it somebody else?
Cover?
I thought it might have been a cover, but no, it was him.
Yeah, there were some deep cuts in there, but then they also brought back the Come and Get Your Love from the first one.
Yeah, it's kind of their song.
It is. And at the very, very end, when everybody has decided, we're breaking up the band, we're going to go our separate ways, they start playing Florence and the Machine, Dog Days Are Over.
And it's a big dance party.
Well, and it's one of those songs that has the slow start and it builds.
Yes.
And everybody is just happy. It's really, really hard to listen to that song and not dance and not be happy.
Not be happy, yeah.
So it's really perfect. And actually, I didn't watch it yet because I didn't have the context, but there's a video of somebody filming Florence and the Machine reacting to that scene.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to have to go and find that when we're done recording.
That's awesome.
Because she's kind of like squealing on a couch, I think.
That's cool.
And there's a Beastie Boys moment. Like,
Yeah.
I love a Beastie Boys moment.
Fuck
Thank
yeah.
God it wasn't Sabotage. Because listen, Sabotage is an amazing song.
It's overused.
It is completely overused. So instead we got No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Solid choice.
Yeah. We have the hero moment of everybody walking in to go fuck shit up.
There's so many like slow motion, them in a line.
The right stuff scene.
That is their
Yeah.
thing in all three of these movies. And it doesn't matter who it is. Even at the end, when it's the new group of
Right,
Guardians,
right.
they get their little moment of slow-mo running into the action.
Right. I guess that's all the music I can really think of.
It's a solid soundtrack.
It is,
I'm
it
going
is.
to go look into it after this as well.
Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that they're not limiting themselves to just 80s music these days.
Yeah, well, they say in the end of the second one, this holds like 1,000 songs.
Wow,
So
1,000.
it is a much more diverse soundtrack than
Definitely.
the first couple.
I appreciate that they let themselves do that, but I only really had one more thing. It's a line from Peter when he's confronting, when he's talking to the bad guy on the comms. He calls him with the fucking like stretch-faced RoboCop-looking purple nurple. And it's a whole bunch of like 80s references that nobody should know but people from our generation.
Well, and I wouldn't have gotten the RoboCop thing,
Till we watched RoboCop.
except that we recently enough finally watched RoboCop.
Did you think that when they took the face off, it was gonna be like that? Because Rocket scratched him the fuck up.
I didn't know. Again, this was one of the gnarlier things in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have a face, but Trent, it was a face-off.
He was a face off.
Get it? Get it?
Fuck.
The whole time he kept
Fuck.
saying it was a face-off, and then he took off his mask.
Betsy,
It was a face-off.
we need to end the podcast now.
Well, fine. We'll do it. We, I think, overall probably enjoyed this movie. We'll see
Yep.
upon rewatch, because we're going to watch
yeah.
this again sometime.
Oh yeah, I wanted to really come in here and say I did not dislike this movie. It's just different. I'm gonna have to watch it again, but my initial reaction here is a positive one.
There we go. And I'm glad we finally got a fairly good one. I would say this is better than it is bad, because the last few have been pretty mixed as far as
All the MCU stuff.
yeah.
Yes, definitely.
They're not terrible. Like, I don't think there's been like a straight up awful
There's
movie.
been some people who are poo-pooing the last like 3 movies saying they're bad.
Calm down.
None of them are fucking bad.
They're
Come
just
on.
not good. There's a
Right.
difference.
Yeah.
They all have the same beats, the same moments. So I'm hoping that this one maybe gets them on the right track. Like before this one, they had a trailer for the Marvels, which I forgot we have to watch an entire series to make that make sense.
Yep, we're still way behind. But again, they didn't have the problem that Quantumania had, where it just looked like everything was done on green screen. Like they weren't even on the same set together most times in Quantumania. In this one, you could tell they're all together, they're all having a great time.
Awesome.
It didn't have that problem.
Well, we would love to hear your thoughts about this movie and any of this phase of Marvel, or really any Marvel up to this point. There is a lot. We're up to like 20 plus movies at this point.
Clearly, we are a fan of Marvel.
So we want to hear what you think of this latest edition. You can email us at neverseenitpod@gmail.com. And we got an email here from our superfan Stephanie about one of our hacker movies we recently watched, Tron. So she begins, Tron is a classic. I agree that it is pretty plotless, but it has an interesting premise. It is wonderfully 1980s and kind of cheesy, but super fun.
Yep.
Why are there kissing?
Why are there kissing, Betsy?
Go back and listen to that episode if you don't know what we're talking about. She says, good question. Not gonna lie, unnecessary romances used to be fine by me, but now they annoy me. They were a huge pet peeve of my husband's, and he points them out whenever he finds them.
I agree with you.
He introduced me to Tron back when the sequel came out, and he really likes them. But every time they kiss, he groans loudly.
I'm not that bad. Yes, I agree. Like, unnecessary romance and like kissing and like, there are countless examples of this in movies where there is a woman and there is a man and they're on screen together, but they just feel the need, like there's somebody above them forcing this upon them, and it just doesn't need to be there because there's no chemistry, there's no reason to put it in the plot. I could go on.
It's a little girl playing with her Barbies saying, and now kiss. She continues. She's referencing something we said on another episode where we know that Stephanie is a fan of horror, and we made a comment that she is very excited about. She says, I cannot wait to curate a horror series for you.
Oh God, what do we get ourselves into?
I have seen so many horror movies, and I think I could pick some out that you would enjoy. Switching gears, last night we took my daughter to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
What?
I loved it, and my husband liked it. Our daughter felt like it was too loud, fell asleep with her hands over her ears, and then woke up and danced to some of the music.
Yay. You know, it's probably a good thing that she didn't see some of that stuff. Because,
Maybe.
yeah.
She's still pretty little.
Yeah.
She said she loved it and that Groot and Drax are her favorite. I will write more when you guys do your episode on it.
We'll get on it.
It's like she knew we were gonna watch this eventually. Love you guys. Super fan, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that email and all of your emails that you continue to send us.
We are happy to have a fan, but we would love to hear from more of you. Email us. That email again, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All that stuff is in the podcast description, so you can figure out how to get there. You can also support the show by clicking that link and throwing us a buck, and we can bring you more fine quality content like this.
Hashtag content.
There's a Marvel movie like every 3 months, so even if you're only here for Marvel, we can guarantee that's coming your way eventually.
Yeah, we've already covered like 4 or 5 of them already, so just
We've
scroll
covered
back.
like 7 of them already.
Really?
We've been doing this podcast a long time.
All right.
But more than anything, we would love if you go onto whatever app you are using to listen to your podcast and rate us 5 stars so that we can get discovered by more people who would love to listen to us talk about Marvel.
Aren't we worth 5 stars? Look into our virtual faces that you've never seen before.
Remove your face mask like the guy in this movie.
And donate your 5 stars to us. Don't give them to any other people.
Not just anybody.
Give them to us.
Give them to us, please. So that is going to be it for this episode. We have one more of our Hackers series. Again, if you are looking back at the 3 we've already done in a movie about hackers, guys, you might be able to figure out what the next movie is going to be about hackers.
Dropping hints like motherfuckers here. Yeah.
Not hints so much as beating you over the head with it. So
I hope you have Amazon Prime to watch it with us.
There you go. And then we've got, I think, one more left in May, and then May will be done. But we'll figure that one out one of these days. We're not good at planning right now. We wasted all our plans on April.
We'll get there. Give us some suggestions. We need some randos to do here.
Yeah, tweet us, message us, however you like. What series would you like to hear from us? Because we're kind of planning June as we go. But until that time, this has been Never Seen It, and I am Betsy.
And I'm Trent.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.